Hello everyone and welcome to yet another trunk haul. Yeah, I know I said I wouldn't do these again unless something special happened. But, in my defense, there's some pretty interesting stuff in here. So Hattons, first off, only one of these things is technically brand new and is a new release. And it's not a locomotive, I'll give you that. But anyways, Hattons, I don't know what happened, but like this week, or actually the last 2 weeks, as in the last 2 weeks of April and the beginning of May? Yeah, the beginning of May at the moment. I don't know what's going on, but Hattons, they're getting a whole bunch of new old stock, and you'll see in this video some of this stuff is stuff that has been previously sold out. And right off the bat, two of these things, and they're right in front of you, two of these things sold out years ago, and I just pointed to them, and that is these ICI hopper wagons. Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy. Crazy couple of weeks. But yeah, so we're gonna unbox the rolling stock and the locomotives. I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna waste time unboxing. I'm just gonna show you the locomotives and then talk about them. So yeah. Alright, so first of all, let's get this out of the way. This is a kit, and it's a really fun kit. I highly recommend you guys build these. These are the Parkside oil 10-foot oil wheelbase, 10-foot wheelbase oil tank wagons. These are really fun. I built the melt tanker, and I really wanted to do the oil tanker as well. Please build these. These are really fun. I think these are like 14 quid. You get sprung buffers. Like I said, really fun. So anyways, let's oh, the coach. Why is this upside down? This is from Australia. Hattons why? Actually, it's not even Hattons, it's Hornby. Classic Hornby. But yeah, so let's take a look at everything. Rolling stock wise and locomotive wise, we'll unpack everything. Right. So here we have one of the recent releases for 2023. It is a Hornby Blue Spot fish van. I've actually wanted these for quite a while. If I can get into it, which I cannot. There we go. Yeah, so that definitely is brand new because it took me a while to open it. But yeah, I've wanted one of these for quite a while. I don't remember exactly when these came out. I want to say 2014. There goes a wheel. Where'd that go? And we're back. Put the wheel back in. That was rather unfortunate. But yeah, like I said, I think these came out in 2014. This one is blue. Well, kind of. There's bits of white, as you can see. I don't know why, but they've also made these like in all white. I do want those. I preferably would wanted it to have that, but the blue one is fine, I suppose. I'll live with it. But yeah, decoration, apart from that incident, decoration is pretty good. You have the tampo printed legibility stuff. It is, again, it is done to a very well standard. No sprung buffers, but of course no screw link couplings or chain link couplings either. That wheel is going to be a problem, I can already tell. Yeah. The other one is completely fine. Is it? It came out again. What the hell? But it's back in now. It's weird. Really weird. Annoying tension lock couplings that will definitely get replaced with actual screw link couplings. It is the blue spot, as you can see. Now, Parkside do kits of these. I have not got around to doing one, although I did think about it. It is very light. Underframe detail is meh. But yeah, rolls pretty well, even with that wheel. I'm gonna definitely look into that. Right, so next we have two things that I think are rather important, and that is the Oxford Rail ICI hopper wagons. Now, these, I wanted these when they came out, but they sold out, and for money purposes, I missed out on. And then Hattons, recently, I think like the last week, I don't know what happened, but they found a whole bunch of these. I don't know if it was like new old stock or a warehouse find. I don't know what it was, but they found a whole bunch of these. They weren't pre-owned. They were also charging them for a lot more than they originally were, because I think these were like 25 quid, and Hattons were charging 20, not 20, definitely not 20, 34 or 35 for the weathered one. So I got one of each, so for two reasons. Reason number one is because I did think about a rake, but I couldn't justify a rake because I don't model steam, the steam era. I model preservation, so that's why I got one in pristine and one weathered. So one, and that brings me to reason number two. So reason number one, reason number one of number two. So this one is meant to represent one that's been restored and is currently running on the Midland and Great Western Railway. This one, whenever the actual layout gets set up, is meant to represent one that is under restoration or needing restoration, because it is very dirty. It's missing a lot of it's missing the letters, and it has the panel, as you can see there. It's actually very legible too. Yeah, so there's the letters. The weathering is really good. It looks really, really good, really convincing. There were, like I said, there was like 18 of these. Almost all of them. But, yeah. They're all gone now. I went back and checked. There's only like 2 weathered ones left. So these went by like really quickly. These were gone almost immediately. And then the weathered one stuck around. That's why I ended up getting one, because I thought about it, and then I was like, yeah, why not? So yeah. But yeah, so the pristine ones came and went, and then the weathered one stuck around a bit, but now there's like 2 of those left. So yeah. One criticism I do have is that these are hoppers, right? Especially these ones. These ones are very, very large. They're a lot larger than your standard 21-ton hopper wagon that you would find like at a quarry or somewhere like that. These are very light. And they should not be light. They should be rather heavy. I think you probably could justify adding like a weight or something, like some lead weight, putting it in here, and then like putting coal on top. Or, no, not coal. What did these carry? Iron ore, right? Right? I think so. Yeah, I think it was iron ore. I could be wrong. I'm gonna put an annotation somewhere over here. I'm most likely wrong. But yeah, you could put like, anyway, regardless, you could put a load in here, put some lead weight, and then put like a load on top. make this really heavy. My friend Jack on Instagram. God damn it! What's his name? What's his username? It's Copley Hill Shed 56A or C. It's one of those. Jack, if you're watching this, you know, just DM me. But Jack, I would say volunteers. Does he volunteer? He probably does. I don't know. That shows how well I know him. But he's at a club. And his club, I think it's Chappelle, I'm probably saying that wrong, Chappelle and Life Firth, something like that. Butchered it. Again, Jack, if you're watching, DM me. His club, they have like a whole rake of these. So, yeah, so a little bit of inspiration, a tiny weensy bit of inspiration from his club. Seven Valley has, I think, 2 of these. Again, the inspiration for one restored and one well, theirs is cosmetically restored. I don't think it actually moves. It'd be nice if it did. But yeah. So anyway, enough rambling with that. These are really good models. The buffers aren't sprung, unfortunately. They are made of metal, though. There is a good amount of detail, especially on the underframe. The trucks are nicely molded as well. Is there writing on there? Hold on. Yes, there is. Holy crap. There's writing on the trucks. Or the bogey, I'm sorry. Yeah, and there's legible things on the, how about the other side? Hello? Yes. Very legible things. Right. So I guess that's enough of that. So let's move on to our next bit of rolling stock. That was a fail. Right, so next we have a Mark 1, and just like the fish van, this is largely unchecked as exhibited by the upside down coach. I don't know who to blame for this. Hornby. Probably Hornby, because they let this get out of the factory. But yeah, this is the restaurant buffet coach. So if we can, there we go. So like I said, large man check. I will put it back in its correct form. The main reason for me getting this was because I am sick of chocolate and cream, because that's all my Mark 1 coaches are at the moment. They're all chocolate and cream. There's very few other liveries. But yeah, the main reason for this. And also I wanted another restaurant car. But yeah, Hornby's Mark 1s are, how do I put this? They're not bad. They certainly were good for their money, because these were competing with Bachmann's when these came out. And that also reminds me, these were, in my opinion, the only good thing to come out of the whole design clever phase was these Mark 1s. Because these, I believe these were being sold like in the railroad range. Well, under the railroad range. These were being sold like in the single digits, I believe. I remember these being like 8, 9, I think 10 quid at some point. That's 10's not a single digit, but you know what I mean. And then like the main range ones were being sold like 20, 25, I think 15 once. I saw one go for like 15. But these aren't the design clever. I think these are derived from them, but because of all the molded detail, especially like on the front. But like underframe detail is nice. I'll give it that, because this is new tooling. But like I said, I think the main bodywork is like derived from that design clever model, because again, the molded detail and stuff. The Bachmann Mark 1s, as good as they are, they're not worth the price, and that's something I if I was to complain about, it is the Bachmann Mark 1, how stupidly overpriced it is, especially for how also how dated it is as well, because you do get separately fitted detail. But like the Bachmann Mark 1, it's like being charged at like 60 quid now for something you don't get lights or pickups, passengers, like fitted crew. Not fitted crew, but like, you know, passengers fitted in the seats. No lights. You don't get any of that. It's just a very basic coach. Same with this. Unfortunately, the Hornby Mark 1s are in the same boat now. They're like 30 quid now. I've seen some at 40. So Hattons were selling these ones at like 19 quid, and I snapped one up because I had to, and I'm not paying 30 quid for what is essentially something not worth 30 quid. 30, 40 quid now. But yeah, pretty decent coach. It's actually pretty weighty, which is nice. The bogies are clipped in. That's fine, I suppose. Unfortunately, the couplings are also attached to the bogie, which is not fine, because that is very irritating. But yeah, it is a very decent coach, don't get me wrong. You can probably find these, if you do a lot of shopping, you can probably find these at those prices that I mentioned, like around like the single digits or low teens, or in the 20s, low 20s even. Or you can like wait around, maybe the retailers would discount these to like reasonable prices. But again, like, it is the design cover model. I think it is derived from that tooling, because a lot of the detail is molded. Yeah, decent coach. Right, so next we have another Jubilee. And when I mean another, I actually have one, and you'll see that in a future video, again, way in the future. But this is my second Jubilee, and I do have a third in my trunk at the moment, and I also plan on getting a fourth, so maybe a fifth. Who knows? Who knows? We'll see. But yeah, so this is Hong Kong, which is one of the, I want to say slightly older. It's not older, but it comes in the old box. Because this particular model confuses me, because I've seen pictures and images, or video, well, pictures and images are the same thing. Pictures and videos of this model in this box, and I've also seen it in the new box. Well, the new box that were the then new, now box that we're all familiar with now. But yeah, so as you can see, it comes, like I said, in the old box that has the picture that I like to rant about, because this whole packaging thing, people like to whinge about the model they buy not matching, the other way around, the picture on the box not matching the model that they've bought. It's just a pet peeve of mine. Who cares? At least there's a picture. Anyway, so is there anything particularly wrong with this Jubilee? No. It looks great. It's in perfect condition. Well, sort of. The previous owner, for whatever ungodly reason, put the short coupling, the very tiny, pointless short coupling, on the model. Now, I will give him credit. He did actually put the original length coupling, drawbar, in the detail bag, which is, I do commend them for, because that saves me the job of hunting one down from any of my previous models. The smoke box does open, which reveals absolutely nothing inside. And I do know, like, certain models have actual depictions of like the tube plate, but the Jubilees don't. And that brings me to another thing. These things are fantastic models. Bachmann's Jubilees are probably one of my favorite models, and so the Jubilee itself it's up there in my favorite locomotives list. But because of these Bachmann models, yeah, I love these things even more. So you got the nameplate there. It's not etched. You don't get etched plates. Bachmann didn't start doing that until I think they started upgrading these 21 pin, which brings me to another thing. This is the older model that has the socket in the locomotive, which is very annoying. So one of my projects, and I'm doing this with my Tornado model, which is the apple green one, because that one also has the socket in the locomotive. This is getting upgraded to 21 pin, with thanks to the Bachmann spare store, which has always been ever so helpful. This will be upgraded to 21 pin, so that means that the tender body and the chassis of the new one, the body, this body will fit on the new chassis, which is more than can be said for my Patriots, that I have to completely get rid of the tender. So if anyone out there needs a spare Fowler tender, I don't know, hit me up, I don't know, because I need to get rid of those. But yeah, so the Patriot has a Fowler tender, and the Fowler tender that Bachmann currently uses is of a different tooling. It's all new. It shares nothing with the old tooling, which I believe dates from the Crab. So, and even like the new Jubilees that have Fowler tenders, I've seen a couple. Same thing. New tooling, new tender, all of it. None of that style. Actually, you know what? I have the Patriot right here. Completely different tangent, but yeah. So this tender is the tooling is derived from the Crab, which came out at around 2005. I want to say 2005. And then the Jubilee and the Patriot came out. I want to say the Jubilee came out in 2007. And then the Patriot came out in 2008. I could be wrong. I'm going to put like an annotation or something there. Anyway, but yeah. So, unlike these, this whole tender has to get replaced. So if you're looking to upgrade, if you do have a Fowler tender Jubilee or a Patriot, you're going to have to essentially get rid of that tender, because the tenders, they're not compatible, and I've tried. Unlike this, which they are compatible, because the body and the chassis have the same mounting points. Actually, while we look at the chassis, you can see like there's holes for the speaker. There's where the plug would go. Yeah, the mounting points are exactly the same. Yeah. The only problem with the tender is you can see there's black parts showing. That's fine, because this is getting repainted anyway. I'm turning this into Leander in her current Black 5 condition, as I call it. But essentially, her line black, how she is now in line black, which I wasn't too fond of originally, but it has grown on me like a lot. So she looks even more like a Black 5 now. But yeah, so apparently that does that also does. Oh my god, that does provide a little bit of an issue, because apparently Leander and Galatea are the long firebox Jubilees, if I'm correct, and then Bahamas and Kolhapur, that one, are the short firebox versions, and these Bachmann Jubilees, these retooled Bachmann Jubilees, are of the the short firebox or long firebox. It's one of the two. I think this one is the long firebox, and then the old mainline version that was previously in range. Those are the short firebox versions. I could have those. I could have that the complete other way around. I think the Bachmann Jubilees are this current tooling. I think this is the long firebox. Yeah, I believe so. I think it is the long firebox version. So it's probably the other way around. Galatea and Leander are the short firebox, and then Bahamas and that other Jubilee, the K1, are the long firebox versions. So yeah, that does pose an issue. But I'm willing to overlook that because I personally I'm not too bothered by it. I'm not gonna chop this thing up and shorten the firebox. Yeah, cab detail, great as always. Yeah, so like I said, this is getting renumbered and repainted into BR Line Black, and we'll assume the identity of Leander. It's also getting upgraded to 21 pin. I'm gonna take this damn coupling off because there we go. That thing has been very annoying, believe it or not. But yeah, perfect condition Jubilee. Another one to add to the collection. I highly recommend you get a Bachmann Jubilee. I don't care what certain people say. Mechanism wise, whatever, who cares. That's just me. If mechanism bothers you, then I don't know, it could be worse. Go build a kit. I don't know. But yeah, Jubilee, Bachmann Jubilee. Alright, so next we have the Dapple Large Prairie. This was something that I originally wasn't going to get way back when it first came out. I say that like it's been like decades, but it's actually been like a couple, I think a couple months. But yeah, I wasn't going to get this when it came out. I thought it looked interesting, but yeah, it wasn't something I was crazy about. And then these sold out. People said they were great, minus a few issues. I know like derailing is a whole thing because of how the pony truck is. And then some people had quality problems. But yeah, I don't think it was like anything too major. But this thing, this is if you want a large prairie, this is the better option for many reasons. Reason number one, the running board is die cast. Okay, the Hornby one is entirely made of plastic. Reason number two, the Hornby one is entirely made of plastic. Yeah, quality wise, and I guess this is reason number two as well. Quality wise, there's nothing wrong about it. The quality is relatively good on these things. Nothing's broken, nothing's bent, nothing's falling off. I will talk about something that I have noticed on mine, but I'm not sure if it's a common problem or if it's my eyes playing tricks on me. But yeah, that's reason number two. Quality is really good, and as you can see, the finish is relatively good as well. And people on our webs are saying like the green is a bit or hit and miss, especially like the BR green. But personally, I like the BR green on these. It looks good. And then reason number three, the price. This thing is being sold, not recommended retail price. I think that's like 140 something, 140 quid. But these are being sold, well, were being sold at the retailers, DCC ready, for £119. And I've seen Rail sell these for, I think 106 once. The Hornby one is not cheap, by the way. So, let me put this down and get the fingers out. The lovely fingers. So, Hornby one, plastic running board. Number two, the quality isn't that great. Sometimes the plastic running board can warp and bend and all that stuff. The Hornby one apparently also has motor problems. As far as I know, these don't have motor problems. The only problems running wise, performance wise, is the pony truck, the rear pony truck constantly derailing. But that's that. Reason number three, the price. These things are much better, and in my opinion, are worth the money than compared to the Hornby ones. So if you want a large prairie, get these. Don't buy the Hornby ones. I know it says Hornby on the box, but don't do it, because you're in for a world of hurt if you do that. And also, these are heavier than the Hornby ones, obviously, because of the die-cast running boards. The Hornby one doesn't have a die-cast running board, as I've constantly stated. So, yeah, take that for what you will. I couldn't decide because Hattons had a bunch of these in stock. They got like a bunch more. Like the ones that were previously sold out, like this one mysteriously came back into stock, and that's the same for the next locomotive we're going to be looking at. Hatton's got a bunch of these. Hatton's got like a bunch of not just Hornby and Dapple stuff, but also Bachmann stuff. I know they're not like a Bachmann retailer anymore probably because of the 66, but they've been getting new Bachmann stuff. I'm assuming from like other retailers and stuff, but they don't charge them. Hattons aren't selling the Bachmann stuff at like the normal retail price. They're selling them at the RRP, unfortunately. Some of them, because there's a 3F on there, and the 3F is like 100 pounds. But the compounds, the more recent compounds and the Brighton Atlantics, those are being sold at the RRPs and such, as well as the coaches. Some of the coaches, like the Thompson Teaks in teak livery, and some of the Mark 1s, Mark 2s, and I think the Southeast, those birdcage coaches from the Southeastern and Chatham Railway, those are being sold at the RRP as well, which is unfortunate. But hey ho. But anyway, like I said, the Hatton's got like a bunch of these. Hatton's got a bunch of these in stock. Again, I don't know where they're getting them from. It wasn't just these. It was the Moguls as well that previously sold out like a year ago, and they got a bunch of those. And yeah, so I couldn't decide. I couldn't decide between a BR1 and a GWR1. This GWR1, not the Great Western or the short button, because I really don't like the short button livery. But yeah, so I eventually bit the bullet and went for the GWR1, and yeah, I am absolutely blown away. Now, the Large Prairie is something I'm not particularly a fan of. These are probably one of my least favorite Great Western locomotives out there. In my opinion, these are probably the most, how would you say, the most boring of the Great Western locomotives, and people have styled the 5600 as the most bland and boring Great Western locomotive. That's not true, in my opinion. I think the Large Prairies are more bland and boring because they're all basically the same. And I know that's like a thing with the Great Western. People always say that about every Great Western locomotive, but to be honest, almost every Great Western locomotive has some notable difference about them. These Large Prairies don't, in my opinion. So the ones Dapple make, well, Dapple and Hornby, the ones Dapple and Hornby make are the 5101s and the 6100s, which are, again, literally the same thing. The only difference is the boiler pressure in the 6100s is higher than on the 5101s. And that's it. There's no other difference. So, as I said, they're pretty boring, and they're all basically the same. But yeah, so Dapple's Large Prairie was announced first, and I do believe Dapple also stated at some point during the development, which was something we very rarely saw, compared to the Mogul and the Manners and the D-Class and the Terriers. The development of this was like very hush-hush, so to say. Not the locomotive, but you know, it was quiet. It was kept quiet, and these kind of just progressed behind the scenes till we only saw like the decorated samples, and then these finally came out. But anyways, Dapple did say that they were planning on doing the other versions, like the 3100, the 3150, the 51XX, and then the 81XX, which I'm looking forward to the 81XX, so I would love to see that one day. But yeah, this thing is absolutely fantastic. Like I said, die-cast running board, which I believe might... It looks warped. Like, look at the front end here. Like, on the various pictures I've looked at, can you tell it's warped? It has a ski jump. I think it does, because look how it bows up at the front. If I just hold the wheel like it's, just bear with me here. If I hold the wheel like... God damn it. If I hold the wheel like that... Does it look warped to you? because it looks warped to me. Like the front has a ski jump, and I've looked at various other pictures, and even the picture on the box doesn't show that. So I think it might be warped. But look at that safety valve bonnet right there. That thing is absolutely incredible. It's not metal. I don't think it's like metal, but I know it's electroplated. But yeah, that thing is absolutely amazing. And look at the detail on the top of the tanks here. The whistles and where is it? The chimney as well, also electroplated, and looks really, really good. Yeah, and one thing I do know is the cab comes off. I'm not going to do it in this video, but the cab definitely comes off. So it makes putting your crew in if you want to do that. The coal load is also removable as well. So he says. Trust me, it is. Sprung buffers, of course. And it's got Dapple's wonderful little DCC tool thing where you you have a tool to remove the smoke box door, and then the DCC socket is on a little PCB thing that you slide out, and also the speaker goes there as well. It's amazing. I love that. I love that innovation that Dapple had done. I only wish it was standard in 00, like forever. There's the number 5150. Detail pack wise, don't get much. You just get the speaker enclosure. I don't know if it's gonna focus. There we go. You get like the speaker enclosure. There's the tool for the smoke box. You get this with all Dapple locomotives except for the Terrier, because the Terrier is a wee thing. You also get nameplates. Yes, those number plates that they're made of metal, but they're not etched. I know people said they're etched. They're not. I've got a whole video on that because this is something that pisses me off. So people say number nameplates are etched and they're not. But yeah, that's that. And then you have a spare NEM coupling. I don't know why, because you get one on both ends. Don't know why that is. But yeah, there's the detail pack. Buy these instead if you want a large prairie. Again, buy the Dapple large prairie. Don't buy the Hornby large prairie, because the Hornby large prairie I think is now retailing at 160 pounds at the retailers. No, not worth it. It's really not worth it for all the problems it has. It's all plastic. It's got a shitty motor. I think the motor is from on the Hornby one. I think the motor is from the Oxford Rail Adams radial. Don't know how that happened, but it's the same motor, and of course it has the same problems. So yeah, buy these instead. And Dapple, please make more of these, because I know you will. Because you did it with the Mogul, and you did it with the Manners, which are a bit please, make more of these. Also, the other variants, especially the 8100. Alright, last but not least is one of Hornby's most fragile models in existence, and that is the standard 4MT 10-wheeler. Oh boy. Well, first off, I'm just going to say it's fine, apart from the missing deflector on the cab. If I can zoom in. Yeah, there should be like a glazing piece right here, and it's not there, but that's the only thing that is missing. And I'm actually very thankful for that, because it could be a lot worse. I'll just say that much. It could always be worse with these things. So this is a brand new model, but not like brand new as in it just been released. It's brand new as in Hattons got like a bunch of these in stock. Well, not a bunch, definitely not by the time I get this video, but they got quite a number of them in stock. I don't know if it's new old stock or what have you, but it's not just this. It's the B17, it's the Lord Nelsons, those god-awful Airfix 4Fs, those things. I don't know why Hornby still have those in the range. They're not even worth being in the road range, in my opinion, but that's just me. So they have those. They have Q6s. They have, or they had a Castle, the TTS one. That's probably gone now because there was like 4 of those left. And then they have some stars. They got some pugs. Again, don't know why those are still around. What else? Some duchesses, and as far as I know, that's about all I remember. There's probably some more stuff I'm probably forgetting, but there's not a whole. Oh, and a K1, but and a D16. Okay, I'm done now. So that's all they've gotten. Like, again, I don't know if it's like new old stock. I don't know if it's a warehouse find. I don't know what it is, but what was previously sold out, like this model, are coming back in stock, and they're going to be around for quite a bit. So, apart from that deflector, like I said before, this thing is in relatively good condition, and I'm just turning it around, giving you a quick 360. You can see the deflector there, right there on the cab side. Oh yeah, and there's a scratch. I don't know where that came from, but like I said, it could be worse, because as I've stated before, these standard 410 wheelers from Hornby are probably one of their most, actually no, it's not probably, these are one of their most fragile models. Every single one I've seen secondhand is either broken, or it doesn't work, or it's broken and it doesn't work. That's basically the gist of it. So it's rare that I've seen one in near mint condition or close to it. There was one, and it's one of the ones from the earlier run with the horrible split polystyrene box. That one was like for 80 quid though, and that one looked actually pretty decent, but no. I didn't go for that one because, one, I don't want to deal with that horrible split polystyrene bullshit box ever again. As much, I can see why people hate it now, because at first I wasn't too sure about it, but now I'm starting to see it. But yeah. So this, I paid a lot more than I should have. Like I said, the other one was 80 quid. Mint condition, nothing wrong with it, surprisingly. This was 169, I think it was 169 pounds. When take VAT off that, it was 140, 143 probably. I'm gonna have to go back and check, but yeah. So it also is very dusty for a new model. I don't know if this has been like in a display cabinet or what have you. I don't even. Is this the model that's on the pictures on the website? I would be very surprised. Actually, no, probably not, because that model doesn't have a very noticeable scratch on the cab, but it is very dusty, which is questionable. Slightly zoomed in a little bit more, but you can see all of the pipework, not all of it, but like some of the massive amounts of pipework. There's this horrible thing known as the Speedo. It's a pain in the ass, to be honest. I like it, but it's a pain in the ass for many reasons. You have the regulator handle, again, more pipe work and stuff. Actual metal safety valves. Some more pipe work. All of this is painted, by the way. And then the valves, yes, the valves, the connecting and coupling rods. Oh god, I do apologize for the jumpiness. All looks fine. Nothing broken at the front, surprisingly. And then, let me just turn it around. There's some ejector. I think it's ejector. So, front, you have the extra lamp irons here and here. There's one at the top, which is, again, fine. Surprisingly, it's not broken off. Because I've seen lamp irons missing. I've seen... oh god, what the handrails missing. I've seen a lot missing from these models secondhand. Like I said, they're either broken or they don't work, or they're broken and they don't work. So yeah, just something to look out for. But personally, I if you want a standard 4MT 10-wheeler, just go for the Bachmann one. Yes, the Bachmann one, I think they're actually close to the same age. I think both the Hornby one I know came out in like 2009, I believe, 2009, and then the Bachmann one came out in 2008. So they're very close in age, but detail-wise, this one is better, and I suppose mechanism too, if that's your thing. This is better, but it's fragile as hell. Like I've repeatedly said, this is Hornby's most fragile models in existence. This and the L1, the Thompson L1, not the Southern L1, although knowing Hornby, if they ever make that, it's a big if, but, you know, I'm surprised they haven't already. Yeah, come here. Yeah, if you want a not a Hornby, not this. If you want a standard 410-wheeler, and you do go for the Hornby one, that's just be prepared to make a lot of repairs, probably straight out of the box. And I've actually looked for the deflector. I've looked for it. I can't find it. It's not in the box. So I don't know where it is. Maybe it fell off ages ago. But yeah, I can't find it. It doesn't bother me too much anyway, because those things are a bit of a nuisance. Just look at like where they're positioned. I know it's accurate, but like I really don't like that. And it's again, fragile model, very, very fragile model. All plastic too, not surprisingly. It's Hornby, because the Bachmann one has a die-cast running board. Oh yeah, and the screw, it's one of these older models, the tooling. So the screw, instead of being under the bogie or underneath the cab, it's at the back of the cab. Again, very annoying. But apart from that, it's a pretty decent model. Again, if you do want a standard 410-wheeler, I have to reiterate, and I know I sound like a broken record, I'm sorry. Just go for the Bachmann one, and I've seen the Bachmann one at relatively not the old Bachmann one, the old split chassis one, because that's the current Bachmann standard 410-wheeler is a retool of that. So that's the one I'm talking about. But yeah, apart from you know those little issues, it's a pretty decent model. It's actually very light, not surprisingly, because like I said, it's made of plastic. Detail pack, what you get, cylinder drain cocks, brake rigging, front coupling. That's not going to get used for me personally. And schooling couplings and steam heat pipes and vacuum pipes. So yeah, that's about it for this section. Oh, and posable roof, sliding roof thing. Yeah, bonus points. Removable cold load, socket in the fender. Great. Unlike the Bachmann one, that's one thing this thing does have going for is the because Bachmann one, the decoder's like right here somewhere in the Bachmann one, and there's no pickup, there's no electrical pickup, there's no electrical connection. So yeah, this one, again, mechanically and visually it's superior, but what's the point in it if it can't even stay together in one piece? Alright, so that concludes this trunk haul. First of all, it was really hard to get all this in shot because my current desk of operations is occupied by a Patriot and a Britannia in the midst of repainting. So I don't feel like moving them, especially the Britannia. Anyways, back to the main focus. I think this is a pretty decent haul. Now, first of all, before we end off, I would like to say that I do have another Jubilee in my current trunk, and that Jubilee is, as stated before, is that one. That one. Yeah, that one's currently in my trunk. It is the old Collectors Club version. I'm going to also upgrade that to 21 pin, and as of filming, it appears, which is May 3rd, it does appear that Bachmann might also be producing or at least planning to produce Bahamas, because they've announced the support coach, but not the locomotive, and a lot of people are very upset about that for whatever ungodly reason, without actually using their brains. So I do think Bachmann are actually going to re-release Bahamas in the upgraded, essentially upgraded format, which is 21 pin and all that fun jazz, like all the current Jubilees. But anyways, the kit, like I said, please build these. These are really fun. Like I said, 14 quid. They're really fun to build. And you also have sprung buffers, which is sprung buffers and working suspension. I didn't mention that earlier, but these kits also have working suspension. Now Dapple's tankers, those are also going to have working suspension, but those are the first. I do believe those tankers, when and if those do get released, those tankers will be the first double O gauge ready to run tankers with working suspension. Not so much sprung buffers, but we'll see. But yeah. So thank you guys for watching, and if you stuck around this long, I will see you in the next video. Bye.